Our next guest has a long history of entrepreneurship, who has taken a new challenge, becoming the president of a basketball club. Everyone following SportyCo already heard of him, Niko Klanšek, president of basketball club Slovan from Ljubljana, Slovenia, who set up the first investment campaign on the SportyCo platform. Niko is joining us today from Hong Kong. Hello, Niko. Great to have you at the summit. Let's start with an easy one. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Niko Klanšek. I'm a president of Slovenian professional basketball club Slovan. Slovan is actually a very old basketball club from capital of Slovenia, Ljubljana. It was established in 1951. And last year, in 2017, my dream came true and I became a president of the basketball club of Slovan. Originally, I'm from Slovenia. I also used to play basketball. I actually started playing basketball in Club Slovan, went to United States, studied there at the university. And then I started my two companies, one in smoothies, one in electric bikes. I've successfully sold them. And for the company with the electric bikes, we've done two Kickstarter campaigns, successful ones. And then I also helped more than 50 successful crowdfunding campaigns to successfully raise funds on Kickstarter and other platforms. And also now I advise and invest into blockchain projects. And yeah. That's pretty much sum up about me.
And please, Niko, tell us something more about the challenges you are actually facing in sports today.
Yeah, so basically sports is like a startup, right? Or it's like an accelerator where, you have the club, especially Slovan. What is Slovan? Slovan, it's a development team where we develop young players into great athletes, great basketball players that they then can go and continue their professional careers. That's our goal, that's our motto. So it's our motto or goal, it's not really to be number one, to win every championship, to come and become, to play in the EuroLeague. It's really more in developing players. And this was the culture of the Slovan, this is from the beginning. So really one of the best basketball players coming from Slovenia. I actually started playing basketball in Slovan. So we have Goran Dragic, Zoran Dragic, Nesterovic, Lakovic, Vidmar, many more basketball players that started in Slovan and then came and then went to play in NBA, play in EuroLeague, play in the top level basketball teams. And yeah, so the problem here is that it's a long-term investment, right? So you get a player, you have a coach, you have a infrastructure, you have every day you work with them, and this is years and years of hard work and practice and really developing a player. And then usually, few, 2-3 players out of each generation come out to be good and successful, so that you can actually then sell this player to a team that wants to compete or to a higher league where they can play and continue to develop. And so, it's a long-term investment. So that's why usually, you cannot really have many different channels of revenue because it's a long-term investment, and also since we are not really a public team that will be competing and have a lot of fans, the sponsorships, it's more, again, the sponsors have to understand that this is for developing players, it's not to, be on the TV. Yeah, and that's probably the biggest obstacle in, how to actually get the financing in and then continue to develop great players.
Slovan is a small club, a seeder of talent for bigger sports outlets. There are probably some unique challenges to financing a smaller club, even in big sports like basketball.
Yeah, so especially also, Ljubljana comes from, Slovan comes from a small town, Ljubljana. Still it's a capital of Slovenia, but Slovenia only have 2 million people population. Ljubljana has only 300,000 people population. So also our pool of, players that we can pick from, it's smaller, right? Again, Slovan is coming from the neighborhood, so the region in Ljubljana, that is the biggest one. And actually, we have a lot of players coming from this region, from this neighborhood. But still, we need to look beyond Ljubljana. We need to look throughout the whole Slovenia, and sometimes, in most of the cases, outside of Slovenia, especially in the former Yugoslavia countries, where former Yugoslavia, it's really good in basketball, and they are really they have always had produced very talented players that play on the top level in around the world. So you have to look into the players around Yugoslavia, around Slovenia, and this is then additional cost, because you have to actually move them to come closer to live in Ljubljana, to study in Ljubljana, to practice in Ljubljana. And luckily for us, we have a great partnership with Ljubljana University for sports, that is actually across the street from our basketball club. So we can work with them very closely, and we also work really closely with a very good high school. So we provide them the education, we provide them the home where they can stay, eat, sleep, rest, study. But yeah, this again comes with additional costs.
What are potential revenue streams for a club like Slovan?
Yeah. So of course, the most obvious one is of selling the players. So you get a player, you develop it, and usually it's around 4 to 6 years that you would then sell a player. And the way it works is basically you collect points. So the Slovenian Basketball Association created this point list that says, okay, if a player is playing 1 year at some level, he gets this many points. If he plays for the national team, gets more points, and this way it comes up. And then after 4 to 6 years, these players would get a lot of points that then you can go. Then when he wants to go to a bigger team or to a better team in Slovenia, for example, we would be able to negotiate with them to pay us by these points. That's one thing. If they want to go to European into European teams, of course, then the price can be higher, because that means that the player is it's a very successful and it has a lot of potential. So we can negotiate a higher price. And of course, if he goes to the NBA directly from us, I think it's around $1 million price that NBA teams will pay for a player that comes from your team and is drafted to the NBA. So that's another option. Then also an option is that you would actually not sell your player right away, for example, to Slovenian team or to European team, but you would make a deal that you lend them the player, or that only they pay 50%, and then 50% is paid when the new contract is signed, or when they go to the NBA, or when they go to another European team. So this way you are basically, again, somehow investing and really believing in this player, that in 2 or 3 years playing for another team with another level will actually his or her value will increase. So that's one, and that's the most important value, the revenue stream. The second stream is, of course, sponsorships, but mostly the local teams. The local sponsors, the local businesses that wants to support a healthy lifestyle, that wants to grow to invest into the community, give them the opportunity to do the sports and things like this. So that's another one. And then the third one is basically it's also very for the community. The local community is the merchandise, right? So the brand, the merchandise, the practice gear, things like this. And then the fourth one, which we're trying now with the Slovan, is actually to create events. So we do some summer events, summer camps, that we organize for players and for also for now we want to do also for players, the former players that would come back to Slovan because this is their home, and that they can during the off season they can train and practice for the next season, right? And they can come together and train. So we want to organize this. And then we're also organizing a lot of local events, so like street basketball, like also some cleanup events and things like this. So this revenue would be, participation fees or again sponsorships. And then the last one, which I'm really passionate about, is actually we are trying to create a recreational league or recreational pickup games for our parents of the players or for our community that they can also play basketball, so that they don't just cheer for or come watch our games, but they can actually also play they can also play basketball. So that's the one revenue and the one product that we are working on, that we are going to launch it next season.
And Niko, do you believe crowdfunding is a vital option for a sports club?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that crowdfunding is probably perfect thing for sports in general, because all of the success of crowdfunding is like how big your community is and how big of support it is. And the sports and the sports team have the biggest, usually have the biggest communities and the biggest support, right? So this comes hand in hand, the crowdfunding and the sports. Also, I believe that, people really believe in like if you're a fan of a team, or if you went through like playing basketball like me, I played basketball or organized basketball for 10 years, so, seeing a team, I want to help it because I know what they're going through, and I believe in this, so I want to support them. So, like buying a jersey and wearing it and showing the support is also by doing it a crowdfunding, it's the same thing in doing the support. And what I really see is that, I'm like, if I'm a fan of a team, I'm already engaged. I already am a big supporter. So why not also to contribute some money to it, or, some donation or investment. And this way I'm actually even more than connected with the team, and I'm really there, and I can feel like a part of the team because I help them from the beginning, or help them from to get to the next level, to the next step.
We already mentioned that Slovan set up the first investment campaign on SportyCo. Tell us a bit more on your future plans and what do you plan to do with the funds raised on the platform?
I'm actually very happy and honored that the basketball club Slovan is one of the first campaigns on SportyCo, and we launched it just a few weeks ago. And basically the idea behind this that we are raising funds through the SPF tokens, and with these funds we will invest into infrastructure to make a better infrastructure for our players, to invest in more coaches, and to especially like trainer coaches and physiotherapists, and also to get some more equipment for the better training. And so why we're doing this? Because again, we want to continue to improve our players and to build our players to become much better, and to increase their potential to be successful. And in return for our supporters, our investors on the SportyCo, we offer that we will give 50% of all our proceeds of sales of the players for the next 5 years. The 50% of these proceeds will go back to the investors.
Do you have a message for the SportyCo community and everyone following the summit?
Yeah, so everyone, please go to all our social networks. So we are on Facebook, KD Slovan. We're on Twitter, YouTube. What else? We are on Instagram, KD Slovan. So please come and follow us. Also, me personally, I will join on the SportyCo Telegram and do the A&M. So come there, ask me any question. I'll be happy to answer. And last but not least, go to SportyCo and please support our campaign, Kade Slovan, and hopefully we can build the next big superstar, super basketball star that will come from Slovan to NBA, and maybe one day win a championship.
Thank you, Niko. You heard him. If you want to ask questions, join our Telegram channel. Niko will be there after we wrap up the summit, ready to be grilled by the community, so you don't miss the opportunity to participate in the discussion afterwards.